through conversion of dollar, then it will be more cheaper for buy Chinese imports. Then your imports start rising.
Okay.
So these exports and imports, they go hand in hand. Okay, if one is increased, other
Sir,
is right.
sir,
In
yes,
developing
yes.
country, if exports are rising, it automatically means that are decreasing. If imports are rising, automatically means that exports are decreasing. There are very rare chance both rises, rare chance, and normally that I think happen when there is a biggest shift, technological shift in a country. For example, if Apple want to change, or the automobile industry want to change its or shift its technology to other one, so they are selling their plants and they are buying plants. All the manufacturers in US, they are buying plants, so if their imports rises. And what happened on the other hand, since it's a developed country, people import so many goods from US, right? And then because of new plants also starts working, in the same year, and they produce so many goods, so their exports also start rising. But it's a rare chance. Yes, who want to ask some question?
Yeah, David, sir. So basically, I've read an article saying that some countries do not exchange rates with their biggest partners. What they do instead is that they collect the other currency and then use it to import goods from the partner that they deal a lot with. So let's take the same example. Wouldn't it be better for China and America not exchange the currencies, but take the foreign currency and then use it for imports?
Take which kind of currency?
For example, okay, let's take China as an example. When they could receive their payment with dollars instead of yuans, and then use these dollars in order to import more stuff from America
Yeah,
instead
you're
of
right. There are different strategies. People are not that stupid, right? So does the government. If people are not stupid, then how governments can be stupid, right? So now how governments are tackling this problem, we will also learn it, but just giving you an example here. So we call this reserve account, right? Foreign exchange reserve.
okay.
So governments,
Yes.
there are big five currencies or big four currencies. Government convert its money into big four currencies and save it with the World Bank,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And if governments needed dollars, so it take into it pay its transaction into dollar account. If government needs yuan or yen, Japanese currency, it uses its yen account, so that conversion rate is minimized or agency fees is minimized. It's same like that. If you are in Russia and you want to import goods to China, you have two accounts. Either you have what is the currency of Russia?
Rebels.
Rebel. You have rebel account and you have yen account, yuan account in China.
Yes.
And if you want to pay money, so you use your yuan account directly China to send the money, right? In that case,
Yeah, exactly.
you have to pay the agency fees and conversion account, right? So does the government also do this kind of stuff as well, right?
But in this case,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So in this case, it would also mean that both governments are in good relationship, right? Otherwise, one government could have benefited from it, just like USA in your example.
Trade occur when both governments are in good terms. If not good terms, then there's going to be like more tariffs, more restrictions.
Yes. Okay, got it.
The latest example you can recall the trade war between China and America. The Trump increases tariffs, restrictions and all that stuff. So many businessmen, they are hurt. Even those Americans, they are hurt. Why? Because they are both China and America, they are not on good terms. And we will see today the impact of this trade war as well. We have scenario here as well in our coming slides.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So
Thanks.
any more question regarding these slides, or we move forward? Okay, now let's discuss in detail regarding impact of government policies. Number one, restrictions on imports. How we can do that? We already discussed that, but just go through here a little bit fast. So how we can restrict our imports and increase our exports using tariffs or taxes on imported goods. Or if we cannot do that, we have signed the WTO agreement, then we can go through other, we call this limited consumption quotas. So there's a very famous example of Japan versus US. So I think in 80s or in late 90s, what happened? Japan started exporting its automobile to US. And what happened? It really hurt US automobile industry like GE, Ford, right? So they hurt American economy so bad that US, firms, they are running national anthem on their advertisement of the product. Be American, buy American.
Yeah.
Right? And why is that? Because Japanese quality was of the topmost, prices are lower, and what happened? It's very affordable for local US person to buy more Japanese product, but their designs are also very good. So they imported a lot of automobile from Japan, and since Japan and US was on terms that it's going to be less tariff, so they should honor the agreement between Japan and US. Then what happened? The US came up with the plan, and they said, look, Japan, you're right, but we are powerful, we are superpower. If you are, if you did not learn from our previous example of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, then there's going to be more coming to you. So I'm just telling you, it's an implied threat. So what happened? They allowed Japan to do something we call as voluntary export agreement, or VAE. What does it mean? It basically, what happened? Japan plead to US look, accept our bill that we will, for example, I'm just giving you the example of, for example, previously they were selling 2 million cars to US, but all of a sudden, due to different, political techniques and all that stuff, Japan said, look, we will be, what happened to my screen? Oh, zoom out. How I can zoom in? Yeah. Look, we would be sending you 1 million goods, and please sign our agreement. And who is sending? Japan, who is previously selling 2 million units to US. So America, he didn't waste any single second and he accepted that. Why? Because from that, it can improve its local economy.
Sir, I didn't really get the example. Could you explain it again? I'm sorry.
This is just one-time game that US did from Japan. So what happened here? Or you can apply for volume of imports, quotas for imports, for example, previously, or take another example, for example, wheat. If all the wheat going to be exported, then what's left for the country's consumption, right? Understand? So
Yeah.
if China produce, for example, 2 million, but for example, 2 million ton of wheat. So, and their requirement is 1.5 million ton, right? So if you're a farmer or a businessman, so you need to register from the government that, okay, I can sell my wheat to outside China. So government know that our consumption is 1.5 million ton. So if from China, 0.5 million ton can be exported, right? And if the wheat exporters, total wheat exporters, for example, there are 10,000 registered wheat exporters. If they said that we want to sell or we want to export the wheat outside China and total is 1 million ton, the government will allow this. If government allow, then there's going to be shortage of 0.5 million ton in future, and in order to cover that, government would import. So this is going to be like a joke to the government. How? You export your own wheat and then you are buying from the other governments. So in that case, government makes some kind of quotas. Only 500,000 will be exported. Now think in terms of this, in terms of imports. Even or imports things some kind of product. In that case, the government give all the registered importers a quotas that collectively you can import. How much is the product? For example, you can only import 5 million units of this product. If somebody exported for more than that, he has to pay huge tariff, for example 75% of tax. Understand, David?
Yeah, I have a better picture now.
So government makes, in order to encourage exports, government do this kind of stuff. Either apply tariffs. So tariff is a special name. We call it taxes on imports. Either government employ tariffs or either go for quotas, or in severe condition when two countries are not in good terms, then they go for voluntary export agreement. But that's rarely happened. I just gave you the example of Japan. So are we clear on this restriction on imports?
Yes.
Okay, now subsidies for exporters. So government subsidies help firms produce at a lower cost than their global competitors. Government pay them in the form of some kind of like utilities, or reduces their taxes, or giving them some financial support for in order to compete with their global partners. And then the restriction on piracy. So a government can affect international trade flows by its lack of restriction on piracy. Like I gave you the example of the copyright laws, and US are having a loss of $2 billion when it comes to the software import and exports. The fourth one is environmental restrictions. So environmental restriction impose higher cost on local firms. Environmental restriction means you need to control the pollution, you need to control the water pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, all that stuff.